What is up, Baka Brigade? Hope everybody's doing well out there. Holidays just passed. If you celebrated, if you didn't, I hope you just had a good day in general. We are in between holidays right now, and college semester is almost over. So we are going to jump in and explore one of my recent obsessions, Fear and Hunger 2. Because I can't figure out how to get the censor mod to work on Fear and Hunger 1. That, and I also just finished a playthrough. What was it, a week ago? I played through on baby mode, Fear and Hunger mode as Marcoh. I'm sure some of you understand what that means. And yeah, I want to test out some of the other stuff in the game. I want to see what Masochism mode is like. You know, I know the game is still unfinished. There's a big update coming that's going to add a bunch of new content, brand new areas. And you know, the creator's working on that, and that should be interesting given how much is already packed into this game. Honestly, I hope that in future updates, depending on how far they decide to develop into it, all of the contestants become playable, or there's a way to save everybody, one or the other. Either way, even if there does become a way to save everybody, I honestly think I might kill Caligula in every single playthrough, because that man is just straight up garbage, straight up human trash. But a couple of updates. For now, I just want to get something out really quick, just to have some fun, and we're just going to explore a little bit of Masochism mode. However, the Darkest Dungeon video is in progress. We're doing good on that. You know, I just finished up writing the script, so I can start cutting up the video, and also once I get the script recorded, pretty much ready to let it go. So about another week, 2 weeks, it'll be out before holidays hit us next month. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it now. New game. All right. So in my Marcoh playthrough, I wound up getting Levi, Marina, Dan, and Abella. So I've played a little bit as all of them. So there's 3 characters I have not messed with at all. And I want to see what exactly Osa can do as a yellow mage. So I think we're going to mess around with Osa. And Masochism mode. I believe Masochism mode locks you into the night of day 3 for the whole run. So this will be interesting. Skip character history. Give me the full text adventure. Give me the abridged version. Saw have a different background. We're gonna do the full thing. The soothing sound of the rail tracks. You are not used to such peaceful and tranquil atmosphere. You can't help but let your mind wander. You reminisce what has led you to this point in life. You were born and raised in the raging hearts of Abyssonia, the continent with a long history embedded with chaos and warring faction. Those fools. The people around you waged wars over ancient disputes and grudges started by long-gone ancestors. But that is how it had always been. The people of Abyssonia held ancestors and their spirits on a godlike pedestal. But it's not like it was any better in the north. In the continent of Europa, those fools worshipped ancient deities that none of them had ever even seen with their own eyes. And they certainly had their disputes as well. A great war after another, one great war after another. What's worse, their disputes didn't stay within their borders. They dragged everyone into their mess. They had set their eyes on Abyssonia, now because They had set their eyes on Abyssonia now because of its strategic position in securing an access to oil and other raw materials from the east. It was only a matter of time before their troops would march on your land. You were not going to die because some faceless puppeteers chose to focus their magnifying glasses on your home country this time. Despite your young age, you decided to leave. Your siblings and mother would mourn your departure. They wanted you to have something to remember them by. Take your family chak-chak, take your father's memento, the soul stone. Alright, so soul stone's not super hard to come by in this one. So let's just go ahead and get the chak-chak. Let's get the item. You took the chak-chak with you. You had considered yourself as successfully dead inside, not swayed by emotions, but it took a lot of effort to convince yourself that you wouldn't miss your family. You still obviously had weaknesses to weed out. You headed to the City of the Sun, Amon, to educate yourself on spiritualism and religion. You were no sloth physically, but you always considered your intellect your true forte. And just like that, you were accepted as an apprentice after some preliminary tests. At the same time, news about the Great War closing Abyssonian borders were all they could talk about on the radio. Amon was far from the borders, and it would probably remain safe for a good while even after a war broke. You figured you'd still have plenty of time to learn at the temple and leave the country before it was too late. At the Temple of Amon, you were given a choice to learn various different schools of spiritualism. Learn of worship in Europa, learn magic from the Eastern sanctuaries, or learn the methods of your home country. You know what? Let's do the magic. Let's do the magic one. You learned pyromancy trick. Okay. You were talented and praised for your quick learning at the temple, but that came as no surprise to you. You knew you were smarter than most of those old geezers. They only possessed knowledge you wanted. Once you had that, they served no further purpose to you. The more time you spent at the temple, the more pathetic the priest of Amon started to look in your eyes. Religion in general started to look dubious, too, after examining how the world functioned. Most religious doctrines were molded to accommodate the current ruling class. Religion was used as a mere tool to control the masses more than anything else. Dedicating your life to worship would equal dedicating your life to kings and queens of the time. You had left your home because you didn't want to die fighting someone else's war, so why would you waste your life serving someone else's in turn? Around this time, you found an old scroll from one of the many Amon libraries. The scroll mentioned an old sect of magical practitioners originating from the Eastern sanctuaries, whose worldview seemed more appealing to you. The Yellow Mages differed from your typical priests. Instead of dedicating their lives to worship, gods existed for them. Their force was to be harnessed to further one's own personal growth and agenda. Instead of finding order from the commandments laid out by the older gods, Yellow Mages reveled in chaos. Chaos was the natural state of the world. Was the natural state the world would return to in time and time again. So why even try and force it to anything else? You quitted the Temple of Amon and decided to head east in pursuit of these Yellow Mages. You traveled beyond your home continent, ultimately finding yourself at the narrow streets of the Eastern Sanctuary. You got acquainted with the local temples. Even they had adopted the worship of Almer as their main religion. Eastern sanctuaries were no better than the temples of Amon in that regard. If anything, religion was even more prevalent there and dictated the way people were to live and die. You were looked down upon by the scholars and religious leaders of the area because of your very public opinions. That didn't bother you. You knew better. In time, your conviction convinced the facets you wanted. You were approached by a group of traveling mages who wore colorful attires. The yellow mages that were still around in this day and age were reduced to small separate groups, wandering around the world to study all fields of the otherworldly. The group saw the potential in you and offered a place among them. You liked what you heard and decided to join the wandering group. What did you specialize in? Learn the basic technique, or learn more advanced magic. We're gonna go with the more advanced magic. You learned hurting. That's big. That's big for us. We like that. Your path of learning and self-growth knew no end. Your travels brought you to a small border town in the eastern sanctuaries. There you met a curious person, Hadil Azif, a self-proclaimed wizard from the Far East. Despite his pretentious appearance, his family name, Azif, was well known and even somewhat feared in certain occultic circles, which gave his claims at least some credibility. He was gathering a group of adventurers to accompany him on a perilous quest. He had inherited a map from his late grandfather that was supposed to lead him to the infamous Dungeons of Fear and Hunger. Infamous Dungeons of Fear and Hunger. The place used to be a noteworthy location of pilgrimage for many aspiring mages and priests in the distant past. The yellow mages you had spent time with previously told ominous tales about the dungeons as well. Initially, you dismissed Azif's talks only to be haunted by the most brutal nightmares on the following night. Something was calling for you. You had to witness the place yourself. You joined the motley crew of adventurers Azif had managed to put together and traveled through war-torn Europa. Most of the crew quit halfway to Rondon because of how difficult it was to cross borders during those chaotic times. The closer to the destination you got, the more feverish your dreams became. The remaining members of your ragtag fellowship were visibly sick from stress and otherworldly pressure that had befallen on you the moment you set out on your quest. The breaking point was the day you were to finally arrive at the dungeons. A heavy fog drowned your camp and made navigation impossible. Using a compass did no good, as the thing was just spinning circles wildly. Distant growls and howls created unrest. Not that there was any need for that, as superstition and constant misfortune had already convinced your fellow travelers that this trip was cursed from the start. Your companions panicked and scattered to the mist. Azif himself had been sick from constant nightmares for half the trip already. You left him curled up in the fetal position in his tent and ventured forward on your own. After walking for a while, you started to make out something behind the thick white veil. The mist revealed structures of some kind. You got to a set of old ruins, or they looked more like a measly pile of rubble now. If it wasn't for the dreadful aura emanating from deep within, you couldn't tell there was anything remarkable about this place whatsoever. Near the main entrance arch, there was a makeshift archaeological site with tents and digging equipment. The site looked abandoned. On the other side, there was a side entrance to the dungeons with stairs leading down to the darkness below. We're going to examine the tents. Obviously, that's the only thing we don't know. We know which path goes left and which goes north. Archaeological site seemed relatively new, maybe a couple years old at tops. There were no signs of people. Whoever had set it up had long abandoned the place too. All the documents and reports were written in Bremen, so you couldn't tell what exactly these people were looking for. This might have been just a regular archaeological excursion that stumbled into their certain doom unknowingly. If these truly were the Dungeons of Fear and Hunger, then even in their current state, they would surely swallow unprepared tourists whole. Near the main entrance arch, there was a makeshift archaeological... Okay, that's just repeating it. So now we gotta pick main or side. Well, the big reason we go to the side entrance is to avoid the dogs, so let's go to the main entrance. The moment you stepped inside the dungeon walls, you felt immense otherworldly... I'm playing an entire text-based adventure here. I didn't think it was going to be this thorough. So, yeah. You felt immense otherworldly pressure. You understood that the place would drain any normal person to the brink of madness and starvation in a matter of mere hours. You had to be efficient about this. Even if the day was still bright, the darkness seemed to suffocate all light and you could barely see anything ahead of you. You lit up a torch. You stood at the vestibule of the dungeons. To your left, you saw a doorway leading to what seemed like a kitchen. It was a small room with olden furniture. In front of you, and to your right, there was a closed door. Check the door. You tried opening the door, but it didn't budge. Considered forcing the door open, but then you heard faint noises coming from the other side. You could have sworn it sounded like something heavy and alive was slowly moving towards the door. One of the guards. You had heard rumors of this place, and you definitely didn't want to confirm whether there was any truth to those. See, look, we're technically getting to play Fear and Hunger 1 again now. Even though, and this is purely censored because it's all just text. You definitely didn't want to confirm whether there was any truth to those horror stories or not. Backed away from the door. Alright, we'll go to the kitchen then. The room had small stools around a large wooden table covered in cobwebs and old stains. At the end of the room, there were old cupboards and kitchen utilities that had collapsed on the ground. The other corner had a row of wooden barrels. Check the wooden barrels. Barrels might have once stored food items. That was hundreds of years ago. There was nothing useful there anymore. Suddenly, you heard loud banging and screeching coming from the entrance hall. Adrenaline was rushing through you as you ran back to see just what was causing the noise. The closed door was jolting from its hinges. Something big was trying to force its way through the door. Whatever it was, created inhuman guttural sounds between its swings at the door. Hide in the room in front of you. You checked the room for any good spots to hide in and decided to crouch behind a bookshelf. The place gave you a good vantage point while hiding you in the shadows. The door crashed open. You saw a dark silhouette of a gigantic malformed being push from the open doorway. The creature made gurgling noises as it slowly wandered to the kitchen. You used this chance to sneak past the thing to the dark corridor where it first came from. Only the creature had clearly gotten used to the darkness as it sensed you the moment you got out of your hiding spot. You charged to the unknown darkness without a second thought. You ran as fast as you could, creating distance to the malformed beast with each step. You couldn't see much in the darkness, but a door frame that had light shining through its cracks caught your attention. You tackled the door open and stumbled to an overgrown courtyard. Quickly glancing back at the dark corridor, you noticed that the beast was nowhere to be seen. You figured that the last rays of the setting sun still kept it at bay. You took a breather and slowly walked across the yard. The grass had taken a sickly yellowish color, and the setting sun created ominous shadows as its rays hit the lone gallows standing at the center of the enclosure. As you managed to focus your thoughts, you realized that there was an additional voice echoing in your head. Something or someone was calling you from the depths of this forsaken fortress. There was something very curious about this echo. You needed to find its source. Not like you had a choice but to delve deeper as the sun was rapidly setting down, stripping you from the last barrier that kept the murderous beast hiding in the shadows. The courtyard led to another door to the darkness. You pushed forward. You were at the foyer of the dungeons. The hall was large. To your left was a lavatory. To your right, there was a long corridor leading to total darkness, and before you rose a large stairway up. I know what is going to happen if we go to the lavatory, and we're not doing that. It was cheeky in the first one, not so much now. Let's go to the stairway. The wide stairway led to an old All-Marian sacrificial altar with a skeleton crucified to it. Okay. Next to the altar, there was a side path leading deeper inside the fortress. Let's just examine the altar real quick. The altar was a typical ritual crucifix used to worship Almer, the Ascended One. A sacrifice would be put on the cross and their blood would slowly be drained for days to come. Traditionally, such rituals were used for protection. Almer would look after the immediate surroundings for as long as the blood was running down the cross. The last sacrifice this cross saw must have been this skeleton. That is pretty straightforward assumption there. There was no blood dripping from the cross anymore. Naturally. So no protection from Almer either. Check the sidewalk. The path was a narrow corridor crudely made from misshapen bricks and stones. It looked like the floor had collapsed at certain points, but you were able to hop over the trench with ease. A large room opened up before you. The room stood out with its finer decor, spiral floor tiling, and as many bookcases covering the walls. The southern corner of the room had a small doorway, shrouded in darkness. The northern corner was more dilapidated, with its caved-in ceiling and all. Search the bookshelf. Most of the books that were still left had been growing mold for hundreds of years, but there were a handful of manuscripts that appeared surprisingly new. Okay, alright. Okay. You know, we get really lucky. We could put that Skin Bible of Rare to good use early on. So we're gonna take the chance. Manuscripts all seem to be part of a bigger compilation, and you would have loved to have all of them with you. But you had a job to do, and you couldn't burden yourself with too much extra luggage. A large room opened up before you. The room stood out with its finer... Yep, alright. Check the doorway. Torch slowly lit up the small room and revealed a wooden desk with drawers, carpet that was from the eastern sanctuaries, judging by its patterns, and a partly eaten corpse that seemed to be part of the archaeological expedition. Search the body. Okay, we're about 20 minutes in past my initial intro discussion with you guys, and this has all just been text adventure. We might cut a lot of this out. Corpse belonged to one of the adventurers who had delved here with the archaeological expedition. That's what his outfit told, at least. It was the traditional safari outfit you had seen in movies. Someone or something had been chewing on the body. There were human-like bite marks all over the torso and neck. You found tobacco, a blue vial, and prison keys after searching his pockets. Faint whining and moaning could be heard from the partly eaten archaeologist. The corpse had trouble getting back on his feet. After a small stumble, he already turned his attention on you. Slowly, one step at a time, the ghoul approached you with his mouth stretched unnaturally open. Cast hurting on it. Tales never fails, babies. Oh my god. Starting off so great. Before managing to attack, you tripped to a pile of rubble. As you lifted your torch to see, the ghoul already charged towards you with surprising ferocity and landed his teeth on your shoulder. You managed to push the creature back just barely and escape with only a minor injury. Backed away from the room, yet the ghoul kept on following you. You cautiously hopped over the collapsed floor in the corridor leading up to the library. The creature was not as agile and instead face planted on the ground as it tripped on the rubble. The ghoul was waist deep in the trench, unable to climb back up. Desperately, he tried reaching out for you with his blood-soaked hands. The whines and growls turned into agitated shrieks as it furiously tried to snatch you. It looked like the creature was stuck. You figured you'd best just leave this area for now and explore elsewhere. Let's take the dark corridor. Your torch slowly pushed away the darkness as you advanced towards the unknown. Further you got, the stronger the echo inside your head became. You couldn't make out words clearly. This was definitely the right direction to head. A larger room opened up behind a set of rusty iron bars. Your torch revealed human-like figures that stood still just beyond the radius of the light. Upon closer inspection, you noticed that these figures were medieval Iron Maidens, human-shaped torture devices that had seen practical use judging from the old stains that had formed from the seeping blood of their victims. The room had numerous other torture devices as well. Most of them would probably be inoperative in this day and age. Among them, you saw an old reinforced chest, and at the back of the room, you saw a corridor leading to the cells. Let's check the chest. Chest looked old. It might as well have been medieval for all you knew. That's a good assumption. As you tried opening it, you realized the lock was still fully functioning. You couldn't open it without a proper key. But a cold draft ran across the chamber. The draft seemed to be guiding you towards the dark corridor at the end of the room. Check the dark corridor. We are adventurous. Loud creaks and groans could be heard behind you. Something big had just entered the foyer. It's back. It's back. It's back. You figured it must have been the malformed archaeologist from before. No, not really. Not my first assumption. The sun must have set, which made it possible for the creature to advance through the courtyard. The creature must have had your scent, as his footsteps clearly closed in on you at a rapid pace. You had to act fast. The corridor that opened up was a long one with multiple cell doors covering each side. At the end, there were large bars sealing off a staircase. Only a rusty old lock stood in your way towards the deeper darkness. Okay, let's think about this. We got the prison keys. Let's take the chance with the prison keys. Check the gate. You heard the creature trash the nearby torture chamber. He was right on your heel. You couldn't see him in the darkness, but you could sense his intense hatred homing in on you. The gate was locked with a reinforced lock. You tried to remain cool as you hoped for the prison keys to work. It knows what I'm going for. The beast was already charging towards you as you opened the gate and slipped inside only seconds before the malformed monster smashed against the bars. Violently, the creature tried to reach for you while making low grunt noises from his swollen throat. The bars and the gate seemed to hold the beast for now, but you didn't want to stay and find out whether the thing could eventually break in. Instead, you took the stairs deeper to the darkness. The thought crossed your mind: if darkness had twisted those poor sods to become mindless beasts, would the same fate await you if you stayed at the dungeons for long enough? The stairs became sticky from old gore and blood the deeper you got. The air was stale and had a rotten smell to it. The voice inside your head got louder. You still couldn't make sense of any words, but it was definitely calling for you. Deeper. You had to get deeper. That much was clear. You entered a huge chamber full of partly buried skeletons and rotting corpses laying about. The ground had a thick layer of dried blood and filth which had accrued around the chamber walls over the years. Each step you took echoed to a dizzying heights. You couldn't see the chamber ceiling. The walls just rose up forever to the darkness. There were two staircases in the chamber. One led to the ground level you had just escaped, while the other one led to lower levels. In the middle of the chamber, there was a rather new-looking wooden contraption. Let's examine the contraption first. You didn't notice the gaping hole at the center of the chamber until you got closer and your torch lit up the surroundings. The wooden contraption had been built around it as a freight elevator of sorts, lifting and lowering items and people if necessary. The contraption itself stuck out just by not being stained with blood and filth like everything else. Judging by some of the equipment around, the elevator must have been used by the same archaeological expedition that had set up the tents outside. You could have used the contraption yourself too if you had some rope with you. There were two staircases. Yep. Take the stairs down. The stairs leading down were sticky with the grime like everything else in the chamber. A cold draft moved you along to the chasm that awaited you at the bottom. A giant underground ravine opened up before you. Even your torch couldn't properly light up the area. There were iron grid platforms suspended above a seemingly bottomless chasm. The platforms were mounted on cavern walls and linked together with shaky-looking bridges. The side you were on had a few individual prison cells in a row. What awaited on the other side of the bridge was shrouded in darkness. Walk over the bridge. You cautiously walked up to the bridge. Just putting some weight on the thing caused a couple of nuts and bolts to fall down to the endless depths. You braved across it. The bridge felt like it was about to collapse at any moment, but somehow it remained together. The other side of the ravine was more or less identical to the one where you just came. There were 3 cells in a row. At the end of the platform, there was a corridor leading away from the ravine back to solid ground. Check the prison cell. All the cells were locked. One cell in particular caught your attention. There was a huge, naked creature inside. Its features looked human, but the person must have been at least 2.5 meters tall, if not more. The upper body of the thing was shrouded in darkness, like 6.5 feet. For a moment you thought the creature was still breathing, but you figured it must have been just a flickering torch, creating illusions surely. You walked away as quietly as possible regardless. There were 3 cells in a row. Yep. Oh god, no. Nope, nope. Go to the corridor. Corridor took you to a small intersection. To your left, there was a doorway to a small room, and to your right, the corridor continued deeper into the darkness. Check the small room. The room looked like it had once belonged to an army officer. There were numerous weapon racks in the room positioned next to the empty shelf. At the back of the room, there was a wooden desk with an impressive-looking leather recliner behind it. Behind the desk, you noticed a small cast-iron chest and what seemed like a rusty lever. Well, let's check the chest first. The chest had a thick and durable-looking lock. It must have been just that too, as it had survived the test of time and undoubtedly a myriad of looters. You tried forcing it open, but with no luck. If all the thieves from past several hundred years had given up on the chest, it would have been very unlikely that it was you who would have finally been the one to break the thing. I don't know, we could have eroded. You heard distant chains rattle by the chasm. It seems like the small commotion caused by your exploration reached the ears of someone or something. The room looked like it had once belonged to an army officer. Okay, yeah, yep. Let's check the wooden desk. Nothing in the desk. Okay. Ooh, found a hidden trapdoor. A pipe and a pouch full of tobacco fell from the hidden compartments. Nice. A loud creak echoed from the ravine. The dungeons were dead silent apart from the small ruckus caused by you going through the officer's room. Whatever still lived in the darkness would hear you loud and clear. The room looked like a head. Check the lever. It looked like a mechanical lever used to control something. You tried pulling it, but it was stuck. It didn't budge even a little. It was a curious little thing, but its purpose would remain a mystery to you. Episode 1 of this is just going to be us doing this text adventure. We're not even going to get to explore Masochism mode. You heard an ear-piercing screech. It sounded like a cell door was just forced open. Steady scratch. Oh my. Is it the Crow Mauler? Is the Crow Mauler still there? Steady scraping sounds closed in on you as you felt a terrifying presence advance in the dark. Hide behind the wooden desk. You hid behind the desk and tried to get a decent vantage point as the scraping noises grew louder and louder. A huge humanoid creature entered the room. The thing was naked, revealing its abnormally muscular and scarred physique. Its left arm was missing, replaced with what looked like a long pole or rod full of thorns and other sharp projections. The most striking feature, however, in this abomination was its head. The thing had the head of a crow! And it was not just a mask. The feathers were growing down its neck, too. Its empty, glaring eyes seemed to stare right through you from the darkness of the doorway. The crow gave a loud caw that was mixed with the deep, resonating growl of an anguished man. That was all the warning you got as it charged straight at you. The creature swung furiously at you with its left mauler arm. I don't see this going good since we've now been caught by the crow mauler, but we're gonna cast hurting on it. Or not. Creature knew perfectly well how to utilize the dreadful weapon as its thorns and spikes scraped the skin off your back. You were surprised by the mercy shown as the crow finished you quickly with just one additional swoop that broke your spine. Looks like your journey ended before it could ever even properly begin. Wow. Okay. We are gonna get to Masochism mode. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip his intro now that we've seen that. Or we can do the abridged version. That works too. gonna pause for now, and then when we get back to pretty much new stuff, we'll pick it back up. All right, so Benny from the future here, and basically what happened is we picked up on Osa's journey with the abridged version, which essentially is the exact same thing as everything we've just went through, and so I'm not gonna play that again. It's sped up enough so that it skips the deaths and puts you directly into the meatier part of his intro story. Still giving us items and still giving us choices to make that select our skills, but just a little more streamlined, which we'll pick back up now. Okay, we're back. We're down to the new stuff. This has sped us through it a lot, so we might actually get to play the game. They had revealed ruins of an ancient city from a stone wall. As you entered the ruins, you felt like you entered another time entirely. The decor was unlike any culture you were aware of. What had led you to the ruins was feverishly calling for you beneath the rocks and rubble. You dug the piles with your bare hands. And there it was, the source of the voice. A burnt and mummified, severed head. The head had deep lines running across its forehead. In the place of its eyes were dark and empty sockets. In the place of its eyes were dark and empty sockets. The only hair on the head was the sparse mustache under its big nose. I wasn't expecting a worm like you weaseling its way deep to these dungeons, but I'll take what I get. All earthworms do, after all, is dig. Your garments. Maybe you do have more than a camel's spit in place of your mind. You are a yellow mage, are you not? You confirm the suspicions of this beheaded oddity. Figures. That is why a measly maggot like yourself could hear my call. Very well. Kneel before me, for I am your master, Nasra, the doom of the modern man. That name, Nasra, that was a name you were not expecting to hear. It was a name even the yellow mages only talked in the darkest hours of the night. Nasra, the harbinger of the burning crusade. Nasra, the bringer of torment. Nasra, the doom and terror of the modern man. The great wizard from the eastern sanctuaries went by many names. He indeed was your master, for this beheaded wizard was the one who gave birth to the yellow mages and their ideology. Only that had happened over a thousand years earlier. There were no records of Nasra for at least 500 years. I have a task for you, my puny pupil. There was a man I once skinned alive. After that, I want to rip off their spine. They will slump before me, limp and feeble. Your master seemed to be surprisingly up to date with the twists and turns the world had taken since his absence. He had a mission for you. As a yellow mage, you were supposed to follow your own ambitions and greed, but there was a lot you could learn from this death-defying wizard that could further your knowledge on dark matters greatly. You decided to play along. You were sure that this terror of the modern man was perfectly aware of your reasoning too. That was the common relationship between a master yellow mage and their apprentice, after all. You were to travel to a small country in eastern Europa with the beheaded wizard, to a town called Prehevil. Your master promised events of cosmic proportions. The stars were aligned for something big to happen, something that would turn the tides of the world for good. The head left out details from his story on purpose, but that did little to bother you. You had just jumped to the deep end of the otherworldly world. You had just jumped into the deep end of the otherworldly pool. You couldn't have asked for more. With this little information about the task at hand, how did you prepare for the trip? I think... food's not super bad to get a hold of. I think for safety's sake, we go with medical goods. That's what I'm gonna say. You managed to find 2 blue vials and a cloth fragment. And now we pray that we find Alchemelia Volume 1. You felt tense since the moment you embarked on this journey. Every night you'd see the nightmares of the horrors that would wait you in Prehevil. Whatever the price, the opportunity was too interesting to pass. With mixed feelings, you continued onwards. Save your character history? Yeah, we'll do it. Why not? Skip the intro? No. Well, about an hour in almost, and we're finally starting the game. Let's see what Osa can do with all the stuff that we have done. Your voice is echoing from the beheaded wizard. We're in his radius now. Better not let me down. Okay. Items. We have 1 lucky coin for the starts. 4 shillings. Our healing items. No food. A photo album. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so we got some decent starting items. Ride and burn severed head. The face is forever left in a spiteful grimace. The head is not without purpose, though, some kind of power. In it reflects otherworldly attacks occasionally. Nice. And we put the Chak on, and we get a major bump to our magic attack. Then if we take the officer's sword, we get a decent bump to our physical attack. We don't have a horrible body is high. Why is our body higher? Simple pyromancy trick to burn your opponents. Okay. Alright, well, cool. Let's see what else we get in here. 4 whole shillings. We are rich. Get all these luggages. On a yellow vial. That'll be useful. Survive long enough. Mushroom stew. See, look at that. We already got food. The butterfly. This place, it's not the train anymore. You! I've been looking for you everywhere. Just where did you think you ran off to? Don't you understand the hurry we are in? I don't understand. The eyes of the janitor bulge out from their sockets as his expression intensifies. No one expects you to. You are a stupid human after all. Now, get your ass back to the workbench. This is your last chance. Next time, it's punishing time. What am I supposed to do? What? You are supposed to assemble new cubes, of course. As for how, figure it out yourself. If you're not capable of that much, you're beyond hope and useless in every sense of the word. What you googling at? There's nothing to see here. Eyes on the cubes. Work, or I'll rip those eyes out of your pretty face. Girl in pink. Okay, so I had to fight him the last time. You hear voices echoing from the beheaded wizard. Are you something or what? Why the hell are you playing their games? Okay, I'm just gonna slam all these directional keys over and over. Ha! Look at that! That girl hadn't even put together one yet. Got 4. Girl in pink is trying to get your attention. What do you want? Want us to follow you? Where do you think you are going? I think I got away from him. Nice. Hi, Francois. How are you? Hello, Pinhead. How are you? Is that Void? Is that a Void reference? I can't really see it very well. So we went to the realm of the gods for a moment. Cool. Last time we did that, they answered a question. This time they did nothing. Oh, good. You know, I thought I disabled the static effect, and it's not doing much here. Mysterious person. Ah, there you are. The moon. It must be the moon god. Oh, wait, hang on. The moon. It must be... I'm getting voices mixed up because there's no dictation. It must be the moon god, you ponder. You've read some vague tales about it during your time at the Amon libraries. Mysterious person. Got you pulled out from that nasty place. You were going deep into the rabbit hole. Now you are safe under the beautiful green hue of the moon. Stay silent. Since our words could not possibly reach my master, I speak on his behalf. And who might my master be? Well, for now, let's just say that he is the delinquent one. Rare, the trickster moon god. You knew it. And me? You can call me Percola. I think it's Percola. Percola. We're gonna go with Percola. I am just a humble servant of his celestial majesty. Percola. Percola. The name does sound familiar to you, but you are not sure where you've heard it before. You are the dreamer. He is the dream. My master has invited you to join us in his jubilee of cosmic proportion. The festival of Termina is upon us. Termina? You finally remember where you've heard the name Percola before. The deity is often linked with the so-called Festival of Termina. Feel like we're just repeating ourselves at the very moment, but we'll get there. Information about the festival is murky at best, but it is often associated with times of great turmoil. Many massacres in history have been blamed on this deity and the moon. Horrible acts have been committed in the name of lunacy. You can't remember much else. The moon god in general is shrouded in great mystery, and his ways are often left unexplained. I don't want any part in this. But it is not a matter of what you want any longer. My master doesn't give options, and frankly, neither do I. This must all be very confusing to you, so I won't burden you with any more exposition and information at this very moment. Just head towards the tower. That is all you need to know. Let us meet again under the moonlight. You hear voices echoing from the beheaded wizard. Wake up, maggot. Train. It seems to have stopped. You hear voices echoing from the beheaded wizard. I trust you got the gist of things. Let us proceed. We have work to do. Something seems off, though. This is not Moon God's usual modus operandi. Trust no one. But me, obviously. As long as you do what I say, I don't actually care about the trust part either. Now, move it, maggot. Well, that was all very entertaining. We are 7 minutes shy of an hour in, and we just started the game. All right. Good. Good. Okay, so are we still equipping with our stuff? Yeah, okay. Yep, okay. Still got our skills, still got our items. I need to read that book. We have a plan for this book. With this, we very well could potentially get a party member. Maybe. In the most ancient of writings, Rare is depicted as the god of the insane and those who've succumbed to the madness. That's the god that we just talked to his envoy. His blessing to men is his moonlight, which is said to uncover the truth under the human filth. A truth that is often too much for a human mind to handle. It can be debated whether his version of the truth is more accurate than that of the human filth. Unlike many of the older gods, Rare's part in the greater scheme of things remains a mystery. Just looking at the night sky, you can see his presence in an eternal slumber. This makes his secrecy even more infuriating. He is literally hiding in plain sight. The Mark of Rare raises the maximum capacity of the mind, which will be useful later on, should things go well. The text includes a sigil of the sigil of Rare, and instructions on how to use it. That's big. Now, so what we gotta do, I'm still confused as to how we got a higher body stat. I'm not mad about it, just confused. Yep. Alright, so Masochism mode does lock us into night. I believe it's the night of day 3, which means everything bad has happened. And now we gotta deal with it. Okay. Speed up our running here. Get some early stuff. Paprika, turnips, meat pie, wheat flour. See, look at that. Food already just took care of itself for a while. Cotton meats, yellow vial, lavender. Lavender's okay. Lavender, we'll take it. I'm really hoping for a piece of chalk. That's what I really want to find. If we get a piece of chalk, it will be huge for us at the moment. Should be, oh, okay. Okay. Get a piece of chalk, we're good. If we don't, then we're kinda stuck for playing the safety game. Here. Symbol. Don't need it. There's nothing we can do with the symbol right now. We have the herb. And from what I understand, we should kind of on a time limit for us being outside. I had a very interesting encounter when I first tested this out, just to make sure that the censor mod was working. And something bad happened. Something real bad happened. Oh, yep, nope. He's still there. Cool. Black Collab still there. There's the bad thing. That's what we're trying to avoid. That right there. And that happens when you spend too long outdoors. At least from what I've seen. And then when you go inside, it stops. White vial. Good. Pick up some glass shards. I don't think there's anything else over here. Got the door over here. I don't think we can break down, but we can try it. Our mind is already suffering, so that's something to keep an eye on. Okay, that's gonna do that. Shards. Case is empty. And the dreams flyer, glass shards. Okay. Woodsman's letter. I'm not gonna read the Woodsman's letter because it's a bit rough in there. No chalk, so that's not great. Lavender first, just to get that out of the way. I don't think we can craft anything. Nope. I'm gonna avoid the woodsman. He's not important right now. More of a hindrance than anything. And we don't want to mess with the woodsman until we can get a piece of chalk. That is what we are hoping for. Anything being in here. Yeah, nope, not gonna mess with that. We know what happens with that. Don't go that way. That actually is pretty big. That's pretty good for us. Okay. Okay. What is that? No, 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 no. Nope, 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 nope. Damn it. No. Not that. Alright, we're gonna have to burn this early, I guess. Because I want to keep my... You know, I only need one arm. Which is a distinction I didn't think I'd ever have to say out loud. That was a big hit. All right, so anybody looking in, those triangle things there, the Bill Ciphers, our Bill Cipher points is what I will refer to them as. Bill Cipher points, what they do is they allow you to cast spells by spending one. You get one each turn. And then if you spend one of them and you attack, you will get a slightly stronger attack. If you spend two of them and attack, you will get a much stronger attack. If you spend three of them, 3 Bill Ciphers equals 2 attacks. So that is what just happened there. I saved up 3, took out the arms, and wombo comboed the guy into the dirt. Got pep pills, which is pretty good. Get rid of the infection. Do that. Okay. Take one of the arms. Or weak to stabbing. Naturally. don't want to spend 2. I just want to see how much damage this does. Not as much as I would have hoped for. Okay, well, we need to heal after that, so... Blue vial. Vial. Yeah, it's 2 down. We can go. We can take care of an easy enemy and potentially get a good item from it if it's still here. Oh, that's a trap. I didn't even notice that. Yep, he's still here. We'll see if it works the same way, but this is there's something we can do with this guy, and we don't gotta worry about it. Talk to him. Talk your problems out, people. That's the way it works. You try talking to the masked man. You try talking to the masked man, but his words are muffled by the gas mask. Breathe. What was that? Breathe, breathe. He is trying to answer you, but you cannot make any sense of his words because of the mask. What was that? Breathe, breathe. He is trying to answer you, but you cannot make any sense of his words because of the mask. What was that? Breathe, breathe. Breathe? Vial is losing his cool because of your lack of understanding. Furiously, he lifts his mask. The mask seems to have melted on his face partially, but underneath it you can see a row of sharp teeth grimacing at you. I am gonna spend my coin. Only the vial. Pesticide is leaking from the canister constantly. Vial took a good breather of his own pesticide without his mask on. Cough, cough. He is coughing blood. And that's how you can quickly deal with the vial. Meat pie, moldy bread. Not exactly what we were hoping for. Still no, matches. Carrot. Red herb. We do have to get inside though here short. Yep, we have to get inside. We have to get inside. We have to get inside. Okay, where's the door? Where's the door? Where's the door? Where's the door? No! So that's why you can't stay outside for too long. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this one because we've spent over an hour in this, and we got to see exactly what masochism was like. Unfortunately, that was a really good setup for Osa, at least in my opinion. We just didn't get very many good drops from the barrels and boxes. So I don't know. I might put another one of these out as filler while I'm working on the while I'm finishing up the Darkest Dungeon video. But that was Masochism mode Termina. I'll catch you guys later.